Beginner's guide to rafting, pretty simple stuff. The first thing would be preparation, and that's 90% of it. Having the proper gear and the proper people and the proper knowledge of what you're doing when you're out on the river. First thing is always having a personal flotation device, life jacket. Make sure it's always properly fitted and buckles are in place. Having proper safety, so we have throw bags, ropes, carabiners, and then having paddles and replacement paddles and things like that for whatever situation you might incur. Getting in and out of the raft is one of the most dangerous parts of the rafting experience. You know, people not paying attention, they're usually very either nervous or they're very relaxed because the ride has just ended. But for getting started, you always want to keep an eye on people, hold the boat steady when they get in, make sure that you can also get off of whatever launching spot once you've weighted the boat down. Then getting people properly tucked in the boat, the different parts of the raft, getting their feet underneath their thwarts so that they can stay locked in. And then comes basically the practice time, get people practicing paddling. It's always, if you don't know what you're doing, better to have a guide versus going by yourself, renting a boat or buying a boat. If you don't know what you're doing, always have a professional. Basic trip safety is very simple. You never want to stand up in a whitewater river, ever. Even if it's only knee deep, a 6'2" guy can drown in 2 feet of water. The way that happens is what we call a foot entrapment. And so what that would look like is a person's trying to stand up in the river. The riverbed can be very uneven, lots of rocks, trees, other things down there. Your foot can become lodged in between a rock or a tree or something like that at the bottom of the river. The force of the current behind you is going to try to push you and hold you under the water. So what you need to do is, once again, never stand up in the river. And then we do what's called a whitewater swim position, which is very simple. Lay on your back with your feet floating downstream so you can see what's coming up in front of you. And then the most important part of this is that your nose and your toes are exposed to the surface of the water. With your feet being at the surface of the water, it's impossible for you to get foot entrapments, and therefore that's the easiest way to protect yourself if you fall out of a raft in a rafting experience. So that's never stand up, nose and toes exposed to the surface of the water, and then your feet can fend off whatever's in front of you, rocks and different things. And then you just want to be active. Panicking is what happens to a lot of people. They get their momentary freak out, but really all you need to do is relax, let the life jacket float you, let the gear do its work, and then use your arms, swim and stroke, and use your legs. You can scissor kick, get out of the water. The number one mistake is people thinking that this is just a playtime river and or any river is just a bunch of fun and not respecting it. Water's the most powerful force there is. When people come out and they don't respect it and they end up getting in trouble. But the toughest part for me, learning and starting off is just reading the water and navigating which way it's going to push you and take you. Because you're not going to fight the water. It's going to take you wherever it wants you to go. So learning how to position or angle the boat so that you can get to a certain location where you want to be, and then seeing where there's different features, different rocks, where the current is leading you over and stuff like that. Don't come with any expectations of it, and come to have some adventure. It's not a Disney park theme world ride or theme ride where you're going out, you're buckled in, and things are really safe. There's a lot of variables, and a lot of things going on. So it is an adventure, and you are working together with people trying to navigate down a river. It is still a true adventure trip. Depending on which river you pick, you could be in the middle of the wilderness for hours at a time with no cars, no sight of a road or anything. The new things out, the zip lining, and stuff like that, it's all perceived risk versus actual risk. What we have out here, it's a really true adventure trip. And the great thing about it is that we have trained awesome professionals in the industry that do a phenomenal job of taking beginners out and teaching them the ropes and learning how to do these different rapids and how to paddle through it. And we do amazing things, taking people down and giving them an experience on the water that they never would have thought possible.